That is so strange.
There's
no idea.
literally no reason why that shouldn't have worked yesterday.
Yeah.
Unless maybe we would have plugged in the Ethernet to have that not work and then have the Wi-Fi work yesterday.
Well, we didn't have the USB-C yesterday.
That's right. Yeah, it's just so weird. None of this makes any sense, but I'm glad it's working.
Yep.
It's the conclusion, right?
Yep.
Get mad at it for 2 days.
Yeah.
Just kidding. 0 minutes remaining.
That escalated quickly.
Yeah.
Can do your demo from a shared computer. I would say do that.
Yeah.
To avoid switching times.
Is that computer running Windows 10?
It is an OS X box.
I
It
know,
is.
I
It is Mac OS.
And obviously, like if you need logins and stuff, you may not want to use it.
Yeah.
But if the thing you're demoing does not require your own computer, then it'll be quicker to just use that.
Definitely. Okay.
I'm just going to be speaking, so I can go in between two people who are using the
Great.
machines.
Well, with that, let's do the same thing we did earlier. So we'll have one person up, one person on deck. And who would like to go first? I see a Gregor.
Thank you, Greg.
Well, Gregor appears.
I'll just say that.
And hit 3 on the switch box next to you to make sure that it picks up your thing.
All right, so I worked on, I guess one of the first things I did, I fixed emoji support on my posts. So Marty's, now it's going to not load slowly, of course. Where's my mouse? So I got a little wave emoji there.
Anyone else ready? And got the path, the URL path of the web mention endpoint, and that was where I ran out of time. So that's it.
Awesome. We need somebody on deck.
Is there an adapter for USB-C?
Does someone have a USB-C to HDMI? Awesome. All right. So I worked on my little fork of audiogram, which I use to take audio files and text transcripts and generate little preview videos that can be shared on social media. So previously I had a really hacked up system where if I wanted to get a transcript, I would use an external program, make the transcript, munge the files by hand, and then feed that munged file into the system in the right JSON format. Now I can upload the MP3 and copy the text that like is what's in that MP3. I can paste it in and hit generate transcript, and it now does automatically the steps that I used to do by hand. So what it's doing is talking to another little service that's running on my machine, which takes those same 2 pieces of input, the audio file and the transcript, and crunches until it generates something pretty neat. So like it's an audio player that links like moment to moment, even down to the syllable that's being said. All of the the little words with their timing. And yeah, there it is. It's done. And so this transcript editor now lets me like format it and add punctuation, assign different speakers, and then back to what the audiogram generator already does is it then takes that transcript and puts it into the video. That stuff was already working great. So I have also put this fork up on GitHub, and I'll be posting about that, and hopefully no one will download it and use it because it's still pretty difficult to get set up, and I'm not ready to run support for that. But that's me. Oh, sorry, I'm Marty McGuire. My website is Marty McGuire with a dot before the RE. And who's up next? I just threw the cable to the ground. You want to go?
Oh, okay.
Sorry about that. You're good.
Yeah, good.
Good.
Cool, and it's mirroring. Hi, so my name is Adam, adambachman.org. I wanted to take the MicroPub demonstration app that Aaron walked through during one of the sessions yesterday and build it in this site called glitch.com, which is kind of like CodePen, if you're familiar with that, except it's for servers. So you can write a simple server in Node.js. This is using the Express web framework and implements MicroPub. So kind of boils down to the MicroPub post request handler. There's a verify function that does the discussion with the token server to make sure the token it has received. I had to write out this comment because I wanted to understand why I could trust the token I received and why I could trust the token handler when it said the token was okay, so that I could take this random chunk of text and stick it in my database. So the content of the page has the simple authorization endpoint, token endpoint, and MicroPub rel tags, and works with Quill. So I post here, and it did report a location header, but it was lowercase. So it did it did a legit post.
It's a 200 instead of a 201.
Oh, it needs to be a 201?
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. Well, I can actually, let me,
Live demo.
what? DB insert good send status 201. That's funny. Cool. So the cool thing is this glitch app, anybody can go get it, take their own copy, change the URLs in the layout, and point it at their own demo site. So that was my part one thing. We should see it. I post here. That's that post at the top there is the MicroPub I just did from Quill. So the second thing I wanted to do was take that. This is cool stuff. Glad I got around to gluing it all together.
That's awesome.
All right, who's up next? Let's get 2 people so we can have somebody on deck. Don't be afraid. Don't be shy. We're gonna clap for you no matter what.
All right. If you'll clap no matter what, I'll go.
Yay! I'll clap for going.
Oh, check that out.
So, oh yeah, this fun thing. Okay.
This one.
No, I think it was the right. Oh, okay.
There it is.
There we go. Cool. What window is that? Not my window. Let's do this window. Oops, this way. All right. So, my name is Russell Heimlich, like the maneuver. In the last 15 minutes, I added some microformats to my daughter's websites there. So, this is them parsed out. Welcome feedback on the markup. I just kind of rushed it in and put it in there. So that was one thing I did. The bigger thing I spent all day doing was cleaning up and prettifying the location meta box for the simple location WordPress plugin.
So you can see there's before and there's after. So I can actually show you. So here's what it looks like when you're actually using it. So this is my test site that I need to do like that. So that'll work. Yes. All right. So if I do this, it'll ask for my location. It will. You don't know if it works or not, but it does actually work. So then you can show details. There's all these other details. So this is how the plugin was originally before I started. So if I go here, deactivate this one.
This is an excellent demo of WordPress development, by the way.
It's only because I'm in
Always test your stuff.
I'm in an incognito window, which makes it fun. All right.
HTTP, it's fine.
It's fine in this window. So I can deactivate this one. I can activate this one. I can go here. Good. This still works. So this.
With Arthur, and we were talking about microformats, and there's a lot of different microformats. They're used. Some of them have very specific use cases, and I noticed he was using Visual Studio Code, which is my favorite editor. So I spent the day working on a Visual Studio Code extension to give you microformat snippets. So as you're typing, you just type H dash. It'll show you everything. H dash EN. So entry. Hit it. You get a little snippet with all the bits populated. There's placeholders so you can step through. Kind of ran into some thought issues with the fact that none of the fields are really required. So I just kind of picked the samples out of the documentation. Is that I'll implement those. And I think really the neat trick would be maybe as a next step to hook that up and build those mechanically. Scrape the wiki and just say, just construct the templates on the fly and stuff like that. But so right now it's just on my local, but I'll get it pushed up to GitHub, and if it looks worth a shit, I may even put it in the Visual Studio Marketplace. So that's that.
Nice.
Lost my windows. Hi, I'm Arthur at arthurfaken.com, and I have a kind of static admin panel that I built where you have a list of files, and currently this is my note-taking app, but my blog editing app looks the same. And today I spent editing this little bar here. It's kind of GitHub style, drag and drop to upload or press to select files. And if I will manage to find my cursor, I can demo something. Yeah, so you can of course drag and drop files like this, and it will actually add a markdown. Since it's an image, it's gonna add a markdown tag. You can, and it's doing a local relative path here. This for some reason came up in a Giphy search for IndieWeb. I don't know why. But you can also press to select files, and this is actually using API file uploader that I'm working on, and it supports uploading files from Instagram and Google Drive, and you can write your own plugins. But for the demo, there's a webcam plugin, so if that will work. Okay, there you go. Thanks.
Sorry, what was the name of your uploader?
API, API.io.
API.io.
UPPY, like a puppy, but not.
Nice, thank you.
Where is it? Oh, thank you. Okay, has my screen actually come up? No, we're back to that again, aren't we?
it was because I was there.
Yeah. No video?
Did this work yesterday?
Yeah. It
Yeah,
just
it's probably the
flickered.
cable.
Oh, this one?
I don't know which one, but
Well, that's pretty secure. It's a new cable. First time it is. It was working yesterday. Sorry. Hate to be the one holding up the line. Did it switch back to?
Yeah, I think we have.
I think every time. That seems to be the problem. It just switches back.
Yeah, that's
also when it loses the signal, it switches.
Yeah. But it makes it hard when you're waiting for the thing to
Yeah.
realize there is a signal.
right. Yep. Yeah.
Wasn't there somebody who was trying to do something while?
Yeah, we can just go.
Yeah, that works. Sorry about that. Oh, wrong way.
Oh,
Okay,
wait.
yeah.
Actually, that might have been the output.
No, that's correct. That's what I wanted. It's blinking.
Oh.
What is it? Why is it blinking?
It's blinking. Okay. I thought it did. Okay. Either way, it is using the token endpoint that I was just working on, so I don't know anything more interesting I should do. I'll put in a location, why not? That was working 5 minutes ago, so back to the drawing board again. But always the demo part. But the other part of it is I did update the login portion of it, which was working about 5 seconds ago. So I fix one part of it and I break the other part, and I have a long train ride back to New York. This just worked 5 seconds ago. I didn't touch anything.
Oh, it's the HDMI cable.
I don't know what it was.
On the right URL?
It is the right URL.
Okay.
But either way, now I'm annoyed. Back to the drawing board. Work
I
stops.
saw it work at one point.
Yes, I have a witness.
Yeah.
It was working. I don't know what happened in the last 2 minutes, but it was working. So I'm going to embarrass myself and slink back over to the desk. It will work. It shall work. I will triumph eventually.
Right, next up.
Well, there's nothing up there.
Yeah, and can we get somebody else on deck too, please?
All right. I had some various things on my list, and I did most of the first one. This is Matt Griffin. Yes, I successfully completed the cage match for domains and killed 16 of them, which feels good / scary. Anyway, it shouldn't matter because those were not a lively bunch of domains. And I installed Hugo and mocked up a site to put on one of them, the remaining surviving pieces, and playing around with themes. So I sort of did the first thing I was looking to do, and bugged people about some of the stuff related to transcription and audio mashup. But I think people like Marty were already doing some work in these areas, so I'll just keep waiting for them to share more stuff. Thanks. Griffin.com, well, that.
He hasn't
When
bought
I add
Grip.fun
today, I
yet.
haven't did any sessions.
Grip.fun.
It just worked. Dude, it didn't do anything.
It just worked this time? Nice.
Nice. Hi, I'm Amy Hurst, amyhurst.com. I have a website that's running on GitHub Pages that is very modest. I achieved getting Indie off working, which was great, and I was able to log into the IndieWebCamp wiki and add my favorite sushi restaurant because it was missing from the wiki, which was driving me nuts. And then I spent the rest of the day working on a thing that I didn't even put on the board, which is hooking up. I write a lot of publications for my job, and they end up kind of in the silo, but they have a way to be able to link and download free versions, but you have to host it on your site, and it's a very clunky, difficult system. But I got a lot of it working, so now I have links to many of my papers on my website. So, amyhurst.com. Yay!
Who's next? Yay!
I don't have somebody go directly into that. I don't have to Oh. Oh, maybe want to see. Alright. I'm not sure. I can take a look at it. All right, so Jonathan Prosy, jonathanprosy.net. One thing that I really wanted to work on from our conversation yesterday was putting together our notes from beginner-friendly sessions, like a session pathway. So I did two things. First, I started writing all of that coming from our Etherpad discussion and writing it in Markdown, and then I got really irritated from having to constantly look in my preview, so I created a little Hugo thing to have a live preview of the notes because I got that idea from Marty and been wanting to do it for a while. But started giving a little structure to it, like some of the things that we had talked about. If somebody comes in and wants to start a WordPress site, I just started brainstorming a little bit about like objectives and goals. Started filling this in a little bit, like things that would be involved in that. So setting up a domain path activity, stumbling blocks, going from there. So this was a lot of that, pulling from our notes. And then the other actual thing I wanted to get done was an activity that Marty and I could run on Tuesday for Homebrew Website Club. So the first one that we did was come up with setting up a domain as an activity. So putting in our Homebrew Website Club posts about if you come to this work from 6:30 to 7:30, you will leave with a registered domain and an understanding of the information in that dashboard and all of that. And just kind of structuring it a little bit of like a facilitator guide, so after we refine it, can share it and put it on the wiki in like a slideshow format. So it's a little bit more refining, but I also did get the live notes thing going on Hugo, which made this a lot easier to write. So that is all, but we will hopefully have some updates after we run this on Tuesday as an activity.
I actually don't have HDMI, USB-C, but I have a USB.
Oh. I have a USB-C single.
You do? Oh, okay,
Yeah,
yeah. Okay. This is actually USB to USB-C.
Oh, got it.
Sorry, I should probably go. Yes. And 3. Ooh, forgot how to do the display. Oh, I did get it right. Oopsie. It just took a while. Okay, and oops. Why is it not working? I have it on multiple desktops, but it's not coming up. It's like because I wasn't sure it's coming up. But, oh. Oops.
I can mirror that one.
Oh, right. Okay. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay. My name is Lydia Tesfu. I don't have a website, but I decided to try to build one for my younger sister who does some. She does pop-up dinners in South Carolina, and I started some of the CSS stuff a while ago, so I kind of cheated and used some of it, but I was just cleaning it up and setting it up. So this is like would be the logo, and then if you go to upcoming page, you have this, and then I have, if you hover over it, it changes, and then past events, and then I have links in here, whoop, then contact, and then press, because they were into news. So that's pretty much it, and it took a while, just cleaning up. I haven't done that much web design, and just even working with CSS is a pain, but I got some of it to work. Yes.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all.
So my goal was to just add some little animations to my website, and I did that. But I was trying to figure out different ways to trigger the animations. I couldn't really get it working. I have some JavaScript issues. Let me find what's the window. And so this is pretty much it. That's it. And I'm still working on getting A-Frame onto the microcontroller, which is like my ambitious project. So if you can see this little string right here that says HTML, I'm just gonna copy like pretty much HTML code right into here, and then like when you go to the IP address that the microcontroller is broadcasting, you'll go to the A-Frame world, and that's pretty much it.
Nice.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Aaron, aaronpk.com. I spent a lot of time today helping David review the WordPress code for the token endpoint, which I'm pretty happy about our progress on that. It does work, I swear. And but yeah, so that was a lot of good progress there, and I also installed a test WordPress on my laptop and got a bunch of stuff working to try to help troubleshoot that. And the other thanks.
You're welcome.
The other project I did today, which I am really excited about, a little weird thing, is this new little grid of green and blue squares on my homepage, and as you can see, it it changes in as people are clicking around. So if you go to my homepage right now, you can play along and help change the pattern. I chose that size of grid to hopefully prevent people from spelling too many bad things, because it's really hard to make letters that are 3 pixels tall. Or drawings. There are a few things you can do, as you saw when it was first up. Somebody figured out that B and U and T can all be represented in 3 pixels. So that's cool. But anyway, it's kind of fun. It's weird little thing. I used to have it on my website a long time ago, but it was like a 7x7 grid.
How does it work? Website?
I kind of missed that. No, so it's as soon as you click it, it updates locally, and then it sends off to the server, so the server records it. And then there's a I don't like having to run additional services if I can help it. So there's a Nginx module that is like a pub/sub multiplexer thingy. So the browser uses the event source API from in the browser, which is just like built in now, and that's subscribing to, it ends at Nginx. Like I didn't have to write any server code for it. It just talks to Nginx. There's a channel there, and then in my backend code, which is PHP, which is not very good for like real-time and streaming stuff. In PHP, I can just send a post request to another internal URL, and Nginx deals with pushing it out to all the listeners. So it's like awesome. I don't have to worry about running a little service for that. It just is built into the web server. Yeah, it took me like, I don't know, 30, 40 minutes. So I was pretty happy with that. And I got to spend the rest of the time on the token stuff, which is super invisible work. So yeah, we'll see what happens with this. People are gonna try to write stuff, of course. Hopefully not super terrible things. Should probably just close this now before before this gets bad.
It's extremely satisfying.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
All right. Anybody hasn't gone? Is that everybody? I think that's everybody. Okay. We're 4 minutes early. That's it. We did it. We had an IndieWebCamp. Thank you everybody for coming. As always, like IndieWeb community never stops. So if you're ever curious what's going on, or you want to work on your site, or you need inspiration, or you are stuck on something, IndieWeb.org, the wiki has everything. And everything ends up there eventually. But also, sorry? Yeah, I was going to say the chat is where it's at, and we talk about not only stuff that we're doing related to our sites and the IndieWeb in general, but also just what's going on in the world. It's a lovely group of people that support each other, and we invite you to hang out there even when you're not working on your website. Meanwhile, we have these events all over the U.S. and in Europe as well. You can find those at indieweb.org/events. Baltimore also has a twice monthly, or I guess it's technically bi-weekly, meetup. We usually meet on Tuesdays, and our next meeting will be here this Tuesday, the 23rd. And we'll be going through Jonathan's activity for setting up a domain. If you don't have one yet and want one, although you came to IndieWebCamp, so you probably have it if you want it. And but if you're local, let your friends know. We'd love to see new faces, and we'd love to help them get going and get new people started. If you're not local, thank you so much for coming and coming all this way. But even if you are local, thank you for coming out. So give yourselves a hand. You had a good event. You did it. And I think that's it. I don't think I have anything else to say.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
no, thank you.
Thank you, Marty.
And oh yeah, thanks. I will do the thanks. Thank you to DHF for hosting us. Thank you, Jonathan, for keeping the space going for us. Thank you, Aaron, for bringing all of this amazing streaming stuff. I'm very excited about the videos, but also for coming all the way and bringing your expertise. Gregor and David as well for coming down. And thanks to the IndieWeb for being a thing. That's it. So everybody get home safe.
Of course.
Nah.
Putting this all together.